Hailie Deegan's NASCAR future remains unknown following her departure from AM Racing earlier this month. The 22-year-old entered the sport with significant pomp and celebration, given her reputation as the daughter of racing great Brian Deegan and her off-track following base, but she has yet to find success in either the Craftsman Truck or Xfinity series. And with all the fuss around her situation, some of the former NASCAR greats have talked about her future. Hailie Deegan began her career in Toyota's development system before moving on to Ford in late 2019. That, according to Kevin Harvick, was Deegan's first major error. I think that's part of the problem. I don't think that guidance and mentorship has been exactly what she needed for NASCAR, Harvick said. Think that the big mistake here was getting out of the Toyota development system. I don't think Ford has a great development system as far as the things that they do from ARCA all the way until you get to Cup. I don't even know if they have a development system. So, you get put in these situations to where you don't have the resources and things you need like Toyota does, and Chevy doesn't do it quite as well as Toyota does, but they do it better than Ford. I think Ford has the worst development program as far as their drivers go. Toyota has the best, and I think Chevy is somewhere in the middle. But getting out of that Toyota development program with all the resources and they're willing to give time. She needed more time in the truck series getting that guidance and mentorship that she needed in order to develop into what she needed to be a NASCAR race car driver. And she carries this fan base off the racetrack. It's a big fan base, and I think she just got pushed through too fast and wound up in the wrong development system for her to be successful. I think the moment she stepped outside of that Toyota development system was a bad move. Deegan struggled to break out in the truck series from 2021 to 2023 and moved to the Xfinity series this season. Through 17 races this season, she had yet to finish in the top 10 and was 27th in the point standings when AM Racing decided to make a move. Joey Logano drove the number 15 Ford in Chicago, and Deegan was sent away shortly after. YouTuber David Land spotted Deegan during the IndyCar Series race at Iowa Speedway this weekend. Perhaps that will be her next step, since Harvick feels another opportunity in NASCAR would be difficult to come by. "I think it's going to be tough to get another chance," Harvick said. "That's going to be the hard part." What do you think? Will she return to one of the NASCAR series, or have we seen the last of her? Kevin Harvick wasn't the only one to let his displeasure known as Dale Earnhardt Jr. handled the Hailie Deegan issue as well. And well, his words were quite similar to Harvick's. So is there really a problem within Ford's ranks? Hailie is a product of a very challenging system, Earnhardt Jr. theorized. This is the same for a lot of drivers that I've worked with and a lot of drivers that I've seen that work their way from, whether it be racing at Millbridge, to late models, super late models, to truck and Xfinity opportunities that eventually come along. A lot of times, whatever the financial support is for a driver, it is very difficult, wherever that financial support is coming from. Whether it's a sponsor, whether it's family, whatever that support is, it's still a lot of money, a huge commitment. It's not forever. What happens is, and this is I believe somewhat similar for Hailie, is, in a perfect world, you would let Hailie or any of these other drivers run in that K&N series, or run super late models, or run trucks a few more years. What happens is, there's a bit of an urgency to try and move up and take the very next available opportunity at the next level because the support financially is not forever, and you do not know when that finally dries up. For whatever reason, you lose that financial support. So every rung on the ladder that develops above you, whether it's the Truck Series or Xfinity Series, no matter how good or bad that rung is, you grab it. I think a lot of times, drivers then ultimately end up in bad situations that don't pan out for them, and this is one of those scenarios where I think that she felt like, man, I've really got to take this. This is being presented to me, and I've got to take it. It's Xfinity. I think I'll fit those cars better. I think I'll do a better job in this series. She took it when it might not have been the opportunity she should have chosen. What other things she could have done, I do not know. Whether it had been staying in the Truck Series, but I see this with a lot of drivers that are trying their hardest to get to the very top, taking the next opportunity that presents itself at the next level, and trying to progress as quickly as possible, because you can't sit here and fund a late model program, or a super late model program, or a truck program, or a K&N program forever. They're like, well, we're spending all this money, let's go spend it here. And they just end up in bad situations. It's about timing, but it's frustrating to see it. Dale Earnhardt Jr. feels Hailie Deegan AM Racing was simply the wrong scenario. Evidently, Earnhardt Jr. feels Deegan was promoted to the Xfinity Series too quickly without first honing her skills in the lower tier series. Looking back, Earnhardt Jr. feels she would have been better served to take a different road during the previous 5 years and evolve. something Harvick also suggested. It seems like leaving Toyota really was a bad decision. You know, if you could have predicted or chosen Haley's path, you would have certainly sent her in a different direction, right? If you could have taken the last 5 years and done something differently with Haley's career, you would have not put her on this path. You would have done it differently, the two-time Daytona 500 winner added. I can say that for a lot of different drivers that I believe have the talent, but just ran into the wrong situation. Finally, the relationship between AM Racing and Deegan was simply not a good fit for either of them. Earnhardt Jr. hopes this isn't the end of Deegan's NASCAR career and that she may find a team that better fits her aspirations. Haley would probably be better off with a team that has some foundation underneath it. That's been a team that's had these types of drivers come in, that knows what they need. Sort of, I don't want to use the word coddle, but almost knows how to handle these inexperienced young drivers and how to protect them. I think it's best that they're going their separate ways. The NASCAR Hall of Fame inductee delineated? I think AM should definitely try to tab some Josh Berry types that can sort of help them say, hey man, and they need to listen to these drivers. Hey, this is what's wrong with your program, this is where you're short, this is where your performance is lacking. They can build their program and maybe go back to hiring a full-time driver that might complement them. And maybe Haley can find herself a situation. She doesn't need to upgrade so much in terms of race teams, but there are some great teams out there that might be in line with her funding and support that have been around a while in the series, that do just this. They take on these kind of, sort of projects and develop them. We'll see what happens. I'd hate to see her just go elsewhere. I'd hate to see her give up on stock car racing altogether. Despite Hailie Deegan's lack of success in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, Dale Earnhardt Jr. remains optimistic about her abilities. Time will tell where her next opportunity will be, but it would be a shame to see her fade after a poor 2024. For the time being, she has only been spotted in Andretti's IndyCar Next Series garage. Who knows if the stars align for that one, right? Next to Haley, there is also someone in the Cup Series that is having a bad couple of weeks. Well, actually months now. And that person is Kyle Busch, and unfortunately for him, Kevin Harvick does not his road to the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs emerging. After another accident at Pocono, Busch is in a bad place, with little momentum and outside the top 16 in points. He'll most certainly have to win his way into the playoffs, but Harvick explained why things don't seem good for the number 8 driver right now. We've talked about this before on the show. He's just at this point where the cars aren't fast enough, stuff is falling off the cars, they have issue after issue. When it goes good, he gets in somebody else's mess. There's nothing that's going right for Kyle Busch, Harvick said. Most of the time recently, they haven't had the speed to even do what they need to do to try and make up for that, because that's the difference between the number 20 and the number 11 and some of these other cars that are having issues. They have the speed. That keeps the confidence level high. Kyle still has the maturity level, at this particular point, to not get himself buried deeper after the race with his interviews, but man, what a terrible position the number 8 car is in. I don't see a win anywhere in sight for the number 8. What about you? Do you see Busch clinching one of the last playoff spots? Or is he done for this season? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.